Welcome to this fifth Threads of Faith Bible study and the second study that looks at Jesus. Today we will hear the story of Jesus washing the disciples' feet, a story that we hear every year on Maundy Thursday. But in this version, I include a few pieces of the story that we don't normally hear. After Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, everything changed. From that moment on, religious leaders looked for opportunities to have Jesus killed. Then Jesus had his triumphal entry into Jerusalem with great crowds singing and dancing, making Jesus' presence known. While they were in Jerusalem, while the disciples would go around town gathering supplies for their evening meal, they would hear whispers. Some people saying that Jesus was inspiring and life-changing, but others commenting on how much the religious leaders wanted Jesus dead. So the disciples were on edge, worried for their teacher. So when it was the night before Passover and the disciples gathered for a meal together, the disciples didn't even notice that there wasn't a basin of water at the entrance for them to wash their feet. They didn't notice how the stench from their feet was overpowering the smells of the wonderful food that had been cooked for them. They didn't notice, but Jesus did. Jesus didn't just notice the smells in the room, but he noticed the tension in the air. So Jesus decided to do something about it. He got up from the table. He took off his outer robe. He took off his tunic so that he was only wearing his loincloth. And then he wrapped a towel around his waist, and he grabbed a basin full of water, and he began to wash the disciples' feet. With the first disciple, he was so shocked that he didn't know what to do. So he let Jesus wash his feet. But when Jesus went to the second disciple, that one tried to reach down and wash his own feet. But Jesus wouldn't let him. Jesus washed his feet and then dried them with the towel wrapped around his waist. Then Jesus arrived at Peter, and Peter said, "Are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus said to him, "You don't understand what I am doing, but eventually you will." Peter said, "You won't wash my feet." But Jesus said, "If I don't wash your feet, then you won't have any part in me." So Peter then said, "Well, then wash my head and my hands also." But Jesus said, "If you have bathed, then you are clean except for your feet. You are clean, but not all of you." So then Jesus washed Peter's feet. And then Jesus quietly went around the table, washing every disciple's feet and drying them with the towel wrapped around his waist. Then Jesus disposed of the water. He took the towel off from around his waist. He put on his tunic and his outer robe, and then he reclined to eat with his disciples. Then Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Do you understand what I have done for you? I am your teacher, and I have set this example for you. Wash each other's feet." Then Jesus became greatly disturbed, and he said, "One of you will betray me." The disciple next to him said, "Who is it?" And Jesus said, "The one who I will give this piece of bread to." And then he reached across the table and gave the bread to Judas, saying to him, "Go, do what you must." So Judas got up and he left the room. The rest of the disciples weren't quite sure what had just happened. So Jesus continued to speak to them, saying, "I will not be with you much longer, and you cannot go where I am going. So I give you this commandment, this new commandment: love one another. You must love one another as I have loved you. Everyone will know that you are my disciples by the love that you share with each other." Then Peter said, "Where are you going? We will go with you." Then Jesus said, "Where I am going, you cannot follow." But Peter said, "Why can't I follow you? I will give even my life for you." But then Jesus said, "Before the cock crows, you will deny me 3 times. Amen.